So our next speaker is Bilal Kathrada, who's the founder and CEO of Compukids. And today he'll be talking to us about the education space and I assume around Compukids and his business. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause for Bilal.
Thanks a lot. Should I stand on the top? Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, as I've been introduced, my name is Bilal Kathrada. I'm the CEO of a tiny little startup called Compukids, but I'm also an educational technologist. I'm the head of learning and teaching innovation at Educor, which is one of the biggest private providers of higher education in South Africa. I mean, we've got brands like Damelin, Intech. There's also the London College of International Business Studies. So I've got a view over the entire organization in terms of technology integration in the learning process. So my presentation today is called "It's Time, ... for something." Now, during the course of this presentation, you'll understand what is it time for. But before I get there, I just want to tell you a story. So, on the slide there, you're seeing myself showing a bit too much of teeth, and my three sons. The little face on the right side there, that's my wife. So those are my three sons. The guy in the middle with the black t-shirt, he's the eldest. The guy with the hippie hairstyle, that's my middle son, and that's my baby on the left of me. Now, why am I telling you about this? Why am I giving you this story? You'll understand. So my sons, just like their father, are techno geeks. They love technology. From the time they've been born, they've been into technology. Because I'm a software engineer, and I've been a lover of technology ever since. But at some stage, I found that there were two problems that I'm facing with my sons. Number one, that love for technology was being directed in the wrong avenues. They were becoming consumers of technology, consumers of YouTube videos, video games, social media, and they were spending large amounts of time with this technology. The other problem that I found was that when they were little kids, they were doing very well at school. But when they came to a certain age, they started kind of dropping out, started not doing too well at school. So I was faced with these two problems, and I had to, as a father, for those of you that are parents, it's an ongoing change of strategy. Every single day you are changing your strategy. You wake up in the morning with the best idea how you're going to deal with your kids, and then by breakfast time they wash out your entire strategy. So I was faced, and my wife, with a dilemma. How do we firstly create interest in my kids for technology, but in the right aspects of it, number one. And secondly, how do we create in them the love for learning? I want my kids to love learning. I don't want them to spend hours in front of their tablet PCs and laptops and whatever technology. And trust me, you come to my home and you'll find gadgets like you've never seen. So how do I meet up with this challenge? So I came up with an idea. The idea was that my love for technology was in the coding space. I've been a coder since I was 10 years old. Back in the days when I was coding on my Commodore 64, when there was no such thing as the internet, when there was no such thing as IBM compatible machines. So I loved it. I took to it like a little duck to water back then. So then I introduced my kids to coding. And it caught on. It caught on in a big way, but only with my two elder ones. So my eldest son took to coding. He became a web designer. From there, he's an app developer now. In 2013, he won an award. It was the IBM Youth Innovation Challenge. That's him and his team. So he's an award-winning app developer. My middle son, he develops 3D video games. He's trying to get into some big companies. He's put his bait out with companies like Derifco, based out in Durban. And the response has been favorable, but he's getting it. But he's only 17, so he might have a bit of a challenge getting in. My youngest, Zax, has his own YouTube channel. He took to something completely different. I did not see this one coming. He took to animation. He wants to be the next big thing in animation. He wants to go to Hollywood. He wants to get into DreamWorks animation. He's got some big ideas. He's only 16. So this is his YouTube channel. It's a series of episodes about the life and trials of a slug. So this slug has a Cockney accent and sounds suspiciously like Michael Caine. The artwork, the animation, the voiceovers, the plot, everything is done by Zax. So he sits there at his little computer. I got him the Adobe Creative Suite, and that's all he does. I mean, they are being homeschooled, so we give them time for this. So has it turned out well for me? I can say yes. I'm really happy with the way my kids are now utilizing technology. There is the aspect where they play. There's no stopping them from that. But I know that from a very young age, I've managed to put them onto something that they are passionate about in technology, my field. I couldn't ask for anything better than that. So come exactly 2 years ago, my sons decided that they'd like to share their knowledge with others. So what we did was, this was almost to the date 2 years ago. They decided to run some classes for other kids. So we ran a little advertising campaign, and we had these holiday boot camps for kids. And although we did the marketing, my sons handled the entire program. And this is what happened.
It's my feel-good breakfast show. With our growing dependence on technology, a ballooning number of entrepreneurs are under the age of 25. Our future programming stars are spending their winter school holiday on a coding course taught to kids by kids.
This all started about 4 years ago when my father ran this little course on Scratch. And ever since then, I wanted to teach it. Scratch is a game development program for children. So it's basically a click and drag coding method. So what you gotta do, you just gotta drag it out and drop it. And you gotta mix them up to find where the right ones go or where you want them to go.
What I have learned is a lot more about HTML, like the tags, and more about how to code and make websites and app development.
I learned how to put an image on a website, how to make a table, and how to hyperlink.
The reception of kids teaching kids have been absolutely fantastic. It's very different from their normal day-to-day school that they go to, where they're just learning with adult teachers. In the holiday as such, they get to sort of let go, be more creative, meet new friends even, friends that are their teacher as well as a friend.
Minecraft is one of the best-selling video games of all time. The appeal is the ease of modification, which is taught to the children in a special modding course.
Minecraft is an open-world sandbox type game which is made up mainly of cubes. I think the main attraction of this game was the creative mode, where you just get an unlimited supply of materials and you just build whatever you want. You can build wonders in that game. I teach them how to add their own things into the game, like their own decoration blocks. If they watch a movie, they can add the character of the movie into the game, or even their own tools into the game.
Being taught by a kid and not an adult is very different from school experiences because they understand where you're coming from.
Aside from designing their own software, the children also learn to work collaboratively and are exposed to a level of technology which gives them an advantage in their field.
I like web and graphic design because of the freedom that it gives you to express your imagination. I also started into mobile app development, which allows you to further that a lot. The children have actually picked up quite a bit on what we've been teaching them. They started to enjoy the course a lot. They've made some really wicked things on their own. Every time you show them something new, they're just so perceptible to it.
The real-world benefits of these courses is kids learn problem-solving skills. They learn to patiently stick to a task and complete that task. And it also helps a lot in understanding maths because it helps them to think algorithmically, helps them to think logically. It's a proud moment for me to see my kids sharing what they have with other kids. Being a coder and an app developer, there's nothing better for me to see my own kids taking up after me.
This enterprising group of kids are starting the right way, making coding fun and showing learners the world of opportunity in information technology.
So that's what happened. They got seen by Espresso Show, and that was a massive morale booster for them. That gave them enthusiasm. We are TV stars. Now we need to carry on with this. And so it's been non-stop since then. We've been approached by a number of top-notch schools in the Durban area. We're talking like the two Crawfords in Durban. We're talking about the Al-Falah College, which is one of the most elite Islamic schools, the Grosvenor Boys School. So it's been phenomenal. But sometime last year, we realized that we need to expand our reach. And the way we were doing it, going to schools and having face-to-face lessons, wasn't just cutting it, because obviously this is not a very scalable model. So we needed to scale. But we also needed to step back and ask ourselves a few questions. Well, me particularly. What I wanted to really know from my experience with my kids was, what can I do to take this concept, to take these ideas to kids all over? What's wrong with our education system that my kids were totally bored, absolutely bored with school? But yet when I put them into technology, they loved it and they are thriving up till today. So what I realized was that this is a picture of a typical school. In real life, when I'm talking about life out of school, kids are faced with technology all the time. They are at their tablets, at their phones, at their computers. It's all about color, motion, sound, excitement, and it's ongoing. And then when they come to school, we sit them down behind a desk and force them to now stare at a blackboard and to try and study. And then we say they have ADD. They're not. These kids don't have ADD. It's just that they have all of these ideas. They're faced with this new age of technology. They've been born into technology, and now we are forcing them, in the words of Sir Ken Robinson, we're forcing them to do clerical work every day from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So would you blame our kids for being bored at school? That's the one thing. The second thing for me, having been a school teacher, I used to be a school teacher in my studying days. I used to teach maths, and I can tell you this, our curriculum is outdated. This is a curriculum that was born during the first industrial revolution to make workers for the factories. So what we needed to do was to rethink education, rethink not just how education is presented to our kids, but also what education is presented to our kids. And then I thought about technology. Nothing better than technology. That's what our kids love, so why not give them that? Now, I was inspired by people like this young man here. He's a bit older now, but when he was 9 years old, American kid, his name is Thomas Soares. I saw a video, it's on TED Talks if you guys want to see it, a video of his where he speaks about his experience. At 9 years old, he started developing and selling iOS apps, basically iPhone apps. And he started making a lot of money doing so. And he was even featured on TED Talks. So I was inspired by this kid. And I asked myself, why can't other kids do this? Are my kids just a little more intelligent than others? Is this kid a little more intelligent than others? I don't think so. Absolutely not in the case of my kids. It's just that they had the opportunities to learn. So Compukids was born. Now what is Compukids? Compukids is an online company that offers a complete technology curriculum to schools from as cheap as 25 rands per child per month. And obviously there's pricing structures. So it's an online technology curriculum, and this is what we offer. So we offer 2 streams in our curriculum. A child can start at grade 4, move on to grade 5, 6, 7, doing either the coding stream or the graphics and animation stream. So we launched this product last year in about August, and we piloted it with 2 schools, and the response has been phenomenal. Yes, there were issues, as with technology always. Our LMS broke once, we had to replace it with another one. By LMS, I mean Learning Management System, our site where the content is hosted. The second one broke, we had to start again. The third one now seems to be doing well. But we hosted these Compukids classes at these 2 very, very elite schools, and the response has been so great that this year they signed on as fully paid schools in our program. So that's a huge milestone for us. Now we're at a stage where we want to take these programs and go to market with them. And that's what we will be doing from now going forward. So when I said at the beginning, it's time, this is what I meant. it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for us to rethink what education we are giving our kids. Are we pushing them forward? Are we challenging them? Are we making them thinkers of their times? Or are we just giving them rote learning to do, which they regurgitate in the exam papers and then come out on the other side the day of the exam, the moment the exam is over, everything goes to recycle bin and that is it? Or are we preparing our kids for the world out there today? Are we preparing our kids for the world of technology that is out there? So in our own tiny little way at Compukids, this is what we are doing. We are saying to kids, why are you playing video games when you can make your own video games? Or why are you watching cartoons when you can make your own cartoons? Or why are you simply playing with mobile apps when we can teach you how to make your own mobile apps? And trust me, some of the things that our kids, our students have done are completely outrageously amazing. Thank you very much.
We've got questions.
Sorry, I was about to bolt without
We've got
taking
one
the
question.
questions. Yeah.
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
This is on. How do you imagine getting your tech curriculum into basic education public schools? And what do you think some of the big sort of roadblocks are for you?
Biggest roadblock? A thing called government. But seriously.
What about government?
Look, we've approached government on a number of occasions. I even had an occasion to meet Mr. Surti, who is the Minister of Basic Education and Training. There's not much enthusiasm for technology as a curriculum. There's this kind of fear of technology and a kind of backward mentality. Let me give you an example. And I don't mean to speak bad about anyone here. It's just the reality of the situation. A typical example is at our schools, at state schools, at grade 10, 11, and 12 level, we used to teach Java to our students. And Java is the language of the day. This year, started a couple of years ago, our government started phasing out Java and putting in Delphi, which is a language that passed away in 1998, which nobody uses anymore. So we took a quantum leap backwards in technology education at our education systems. And teachers, we tried to fight it, but teachers approached us, let's not get rid of Java. You do a search on Java, you get millions of results. On Delphi, you find nothing. So this just highlights the type of mentality that we are facing with the Department of Education. The other thing is, obviously, when we take a product like this, there's a lot of, the first thing that we are faced with is we don't have money for this. And that part I do understand. The budgets are stretched thin. But what I would have preferred from government was, let's see how we can work together to get this thing going. Let's try and get corporate funding. There's a lot of corporates that are looking at funding projects like this. Let's bring them in. Let's get it started with schools. It's gone so difficult with schools right now, and I'll give you another example, and I'll cut off here. There's a couple of disadvantaged schools in the Newlands area in Durban who really, really want this product. And we say, you know what? We'd like to build the numbers. We'd like to build a name for ourselves. So we're going to support these schools. So we go up to them and we say, hey, here's our programs for you free of charge. They've got the labs, they've got the computers, they've got the internet access, and those labs are sitting locked up for years, and that's what the principals confessed to. But when the time came for the actual implementation, the principals had their heads in their hands. They say, we cannot fit this anywhere because the government has even taken our technology from our weekly timetable. The notional hours are gone so stringent that they don't even allow for 1 hour in the week for our kids to do technology. So unfortunately, we can't do that. And here we were offering it for free to those schools. So now we're looking at a after-school program, which is another mess because, kids have to go home. There's taxis that are waiting for them. These are not kids that can schedule their own lifts home and things like that. They use public transport. So I don't expect the response from that to be too good. I don't know if that answers your question.
Are you on the cloud?
Yes, we are. We are actually, we launched as a fully online solution, but in the next 3 weeks or so, we're launching our mobile app, which will allow kids to download the content and study offline. So there won't need to be a constant online connection. So it'll bring down all the videos and quizzes and every lesson has a video. Every lesson is video driven. So it brings everything down. So it's one single download and they can learn from there.
Just
Someone else?
one last question.
Yeah.
I would like to ask, these three gentlemen are exposed to what you may define or not define as a mode 2 learning methodology. How do they interface going back to school every day into a mode 1 curriculum? That's the question.
Yeah, okay, so they are homeschooled, but there was that interim period.
But that's okay, but I want to ask, so how does they go back to a mode 1 curriculum?
So can you define mode 1 for me?
Well, mode 1, it's prescribed. There are exams, there are tests, it's predefined.
Yeah. Okay.
It's homeschooled, just a predefined
Yeah.
curriculum.
Okay, so there was a period when they were at a normal school. It was a private school. And especially with my eldest son, it became a bit of an issue for us because up till grade 9, he was like the straight A student. And come grade 10, he was like straight failure student. You know, he kind of lost interest. So being exposed to this kind of environment and then having to go to school every day, so it became a bit confrontational with us as you know, as parents and child, and it became very unpleasant. But then at stage, we arrived at a stage where my wife and I, we said, you know what, I think we need to look at ourselves now, how we are approaching all of this. So we had to sit down with him and we said, son, what's wrong? Why are you failing in physics and chemistry and maths? You were brilliant at all of these. He says, well, Dad, I just don't have interest. I want to go into technology just like you. So we decided to give him a chance with the homeschooling and the technology, and he's excelled. So to answer your question, I have this habit of giving a very long answer, but the short answer is there was this very, very uncomfortable period in between where there was this incompatibility between what he was getting at home and what he was getting at school. And I'm happy and grateful that we realized very early on, before that relationship was ruined, that this is the problem. Does that...
So do we anticipate that can happen in schools going forward with technology?
It's already happening. It's really happening, maybe in a more subdued manner. I mean, really, if you look at, I mean, I speak I've got a very good relationship with lots of schools, and one of the biggest issues that they are facing is discipline, especially discipline in class. So teachers complain, we can't hold kids' attention any longer. But that's just the point. They're just not excited by what you are giving them. You're forcing them to sit. They've got energy, they're bursting with energy, they're bubbling with it. You're forcing them to sit and to listen to you the whole day. That's not what they want. They want to take ownership of their own learning. They want to be able to explore new things and to discover for themselves. And they want technology in their lives. More than anything else, they want technology.
All right, guys, in the interest of time, please catch Bilal outside during the break. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks a lot.